I've just marked out the area that I'm going to cut out on this wing. The line is there, just past up into there. So I'm just about to cut this out and fit the repair section. I've spent a while fitting this. It's almost there. I've just got to do a little bit of filing on the back edge here. I actually can't get that to join. So apart from that, it's pretty much there. So once I file that, I'll feed this up again, clamp it all up and just check, and then I'll start to put some tacks in to hold it in position. So it should be okay, but anyway, a little bit more filing and then some tack welds. The section's all tacked into place. What I now have to do is to actually unbolt it, and I'll sit it up in a more comfortable position to do the seam weld. And before I do that, of course, I'll probably add a few more tacks. But all the tacks went in well, no blow-throughs, so that was good. This repair section was a lot tighter than the other one, so that's really the reason for that. But anyway, I'll unbolt this, reposition it, and then start to do the seam weld. The welding's all been cleaned up. The distortion's been taken out of the metal. The shape is now very close to right. Once again, I'm not worried too much about that. What I have to do is to actually drill some holes in the flanges so the panels can actually be bolted together. Because of the large repair section, all of the holes along the top, basically from the mouth all the way around, on both sides have to be drilled, and before they're drilled, everything needs to be fitted together properly. It's just sitting on there at the moment, the bottom pan. So I've got a fair degree of flex to move and align the panels. That's going to take a while just to get right. I want to make sure it's even on both sides. I'm pretty sure that the rear end of this bottom panel is not going to line up with the guard, but the main thing will be is to get the mouth aligned and work from there. But anyway, at this stage, this is cleaned up enough. There's still more repairs to do to this guard, and actually to both guards. But at this stage, what I'll do is to, in terms of a next step, is to, as I say, drill the holes, line this bottom panel up to make sure it's right, and then once that's done, I will probably adjust the fit at the end. As I say, I'm pretty sure this panel is short, so I have to add metal on the edge just in there. There probably will be a few other adjustments to make to the bottom panel, or maybe to the air ducts more than the bottom panel, because when I dropped this on with the old air ducts, it was sitting up a little bit, wasn't quite lining up with the areas of the air duct where it meets contact. So that will still have to be done. At this stage though, I'm a fair way off that. I'll just do the fit, the general fit of this panel. I've drilled all of the flange bolt holes. So they're all done, the bolts are in, everything is lined up. The shape is good around the guards, around the front, around the mouth on both sides. The only issue is the rear end around the wheel arch, which is down in there. And there's a gap of about 1/4 inch between 7 and 8 mil. So I need to build that up. So I don't think that's so much of a problem. I'll have to gradually build that up with weld, but I can certainly do that. So that's the next step, is to build all that up and make sure that's all aligned, and then I'll move on to finishing off the wings. Now I've identified how much metal I've got to put on here. It goes to the edge of the copper. That's where the wheel arch finishes there. So I've got to fill this into here, and then it tapers as it goes up. Now I'm going to use the MIG welder to drop some welds in. I think that's the easiest way to add the amount of metal that's got to be added, and then I'll start shaping it. So it goes from there to up into here, and it's a lot thinner up here of course, but it gradually gets thicker as it comes down to the edge here. So I should be able to do that. Everything's positioned. The bottom panel is actually bolted on, so it's in its final position. All I have to do now is to make sure everything lines up. I've got the general shape of the panel. Put a fair bit of weld in, particularly in here, because this panel had a very deep curve in there, which is a little bit different from the original. Anyway, I've got enough weld in there to give the general shape. Meets up with the guard, follows the general curve of the guard. Yet to finish it off. Still a little bit of welding to do in there, just to fill up some gaps, and then I'll both sand and file that to get it to its original shape. But I'd rather, in doing that, I'd rather take the panel off. At the moment it's bolted on. So what I'm going to do now is go onto the other side and do the same. When I've got that into this similar shape, then I'll take the panel off and do some fine adjustments. It's taken a while, but I've managed to complete the filing of the new edge. It lines up nicely, provides a nice leading curve to the bottom panel. So that's now finished. The other side is in the same condition. I'll just move around to show that. As I say, that's all nicely fitted, so I don't have to do much more to finish all of that off. So what I'm now going to do is to move on to the right hand guard over here. There's a few places that's got to be repaired. One is a section down in here that I've got to cut out, and the other is the whole bottom panel. I'll probably start with the bottom panel first, that large section, and then I'll move on to the smaller piece. They're the only two remaining rust areas that I've got to address on the right hand side, so I'm about to move on to that. On about to address this area of rust. It's along the wire insert on the bottom there. Goes up to about, well, probably up an inch, at least an inch, maybe a bit further up in around here. Hasn't rusted right through, but it's certainly quite heavy rust in there. So I had Chuck from Monocoque Metalworks make up this repair section. It's got a flange on it, so it can be both plug welded and tack welded. It's got a fair bit of cutting to do. What I had to also do is cut the wire up into the wheel arch here, so this can go up a little bit. Now it's not going to go up all that distance. I'll probably make it about an inch up into the existing panel. So what I'm about to do is to work out where the cut needs to be. Now the cut of course doesn't go to the top of the flange, the cut goes to the bottom here, because this will slide under, and that will be on the inside of the panel, and then the outer surface will line up with the surface here. So it's going to take a fair bit of measuring. I'll get quite a bit of I'm going to have to spend quite a bit of time measuring this to make sure I get the panel in the right position. So I'll start with taking some measurements. I'll probably put a datum line across the top here so I can measure where this edge actually is in relation to the panel. So then it'll help me line this up back where it originally was. So this is going to take a while to make sure the measurements are right before I cut, but hopefully I shouldn't have too much difficulty. The other issue I have, of course, is that there is a brace on the inside of this. I'm not sure how it's attached. I know it's got, I won't call it glue, but the sealant on the inside, which may well be the only way it's held on, or there's also a possibility it has a few spot welds, particularly on the bottom here. So need to be careful when I take or try and take this off. It may not just drop straight off. So anyway, a fair bit of work to do on this. The other thing is that on the inside of this there is a brace that's welded, not a brace, sorry, it's a bracket that's welded. That's so the inner guard can bolt onto it. So I've got to get that positioned correctly as well. Well, I've cut the bottom piece off. This is it. Took off the least amount possible, obviously. The edge hasn't been dressed yet, so there's a little bit of work to do on that. I've just clamped it briefly into position. It's about where it will end up. I'll recheck all of that because I've got measurements to take to make sure it's the right amount. I've recessed the the wired edge up into the existing panel. It's about an inch up. I've just got to check that to make sure that's right. What I'll do, or what I have done, is to actually, I can't see it on this, is to actually peel back the rolled edge where I've cut it. So the rolled edge comes down into here a bit further. So I've peeled that back, enabled me to cut the existing wire, and then I'll run the new wire from this one up into the old panel. So that's just got to be double checked before I do any welding. This will be actually plug welded along here. I haven't marked where that will be, and I'll put stitches on the edge there as well as I go along. I may even put a few stitches on the rear. The panel at this stage is looking quite good. The amount of work involved is not that much. I had to drill a couple of spot welds out of there, as you can see on this, where they spot welded that into the brace right on the bottom end. So I've actually got to redo that, so I'll put a couple of plug holes in here so I can weld that into the brace. But all in all, it's going in a lot easier than the other repair sections. That's mainly because I'm not doing a continuous TIG weld. I mean, I could have tried it, but I decided that I've got enough panel work to do without trying to dress a weld this long on a relatively flat surface. It's a lot easier to blend into a curved surface than on a fairly flat surface along there. So anyway, it's looking good at this stage. The fitting's now almost complete. Drilled all the plug weld holes and fitted it into the wire edge into the existing panel. That's lined up nicely. The shape is right on the outside. So I've just got a couple of spots along the edge that I've got to trim off, and then I can screw that panel in completely. As soon as I've done that, I'll actually I might wait till I've welded it, and then I'll cut that end piece off, put the plug weld holes in the end here. That's welding it into the brace on the end of the wing, so it's getting very close to being welded in place. So it'd be good to get that done.